stop what you're doing for a second, because the Cowboys are sitting on decisions that could change this franchise for the next 5 years. And before we break it all down, hit that subscribe button right now, because on Cowboys Live News, we cover every draft rumor, every free agency whisper, and every front office move the second it drops. And trust me, you do not want to miss what could be coming next. There's real smoke right now around Dallas, potentially moving up, maybe moving back, maybe swinging big in free agency. And the crazy part is the path they choose is going to tell us everything about how serious this team is about chasing a Super Bowl instead of just flirting with contention. Let's start with the draft, because that's where the tension is building. Sitting at 12 gives Dallas options, but it also puts them right in that danger zone where the elite blue chip guys might be gone, and you're staring at a decision that defines your offseason. There's been chatter about teams in the mid-teens possibly wanting to jump up if a top tackle or edge slides, and if that happens, the Cowboys could be looking at an extra second-round pick. Now, would that be worth it? That depends on who's on the board. If one of the premier defensive playmakers falls into their lap, you don't get cute, you take him. But if the board flattens out and there are similar grades from 12 to 20, that's when trading back becomes interesting, because this roster has more than one hole, and that's what nobody outside of Cowboys Nation seems to understand. This team needs help at corner, safety depth, linebacker stability, another edge rusher, and that's before we even talk about long-term offensive line planning. So when fans ask, should Dallas go edge at 12 and linebacker at 20 or flip it, the honest answer is this: they need both. They need impact talent across the entire defense. Best player available still matters, but it has to be best player available at a position that actually gets on the field. You can't keep drafting luxury depth pieces and pretending it's aggression. If a true difference-making edge is there at 12, that's hard to pass up, because pressure changes everything. But if the top edge rushers are gone and there's a dominant safety or linebacker staring you in the face, you take the elite talent and figure the rest out later. This defense lacked instincts and communication last year in critical moments. That's not just about athleticism, that's about football IQ. So if you land a smart, tone-setting linebacker who can line everyone up next to DeMarvion Overshown, suddenly the middle of your defense looks stable instead of shaky. Now let's talk about the bold scenario that's been floating around, trading up into the top 10. There's speculation that moving from 12 up to around 8 could be doable if Dallas packaged their second first-rounder or recouped value in a smart way. On paper, that kind of move signals aggression. It tells the locker room, we're not waiting around. But here's the risk. If you're moving up for a prospect you hope becomes a star, that's dangerous. If you're moving up for someone you truly believe is a franchise-changing pass rusher, that's different. There's a big difference between chasing upside and securing production. And Cowboys fans have seen both sides of that coin. Now flip it the other direction. What if Dallas moves back from 20 into the late 20s or early second round and picks up another day 2 selection? That might not be sexy, but it might be smart if the board breaks a certain way, because stacking young, cheap, controllable defensive starters is how you build sustainable success under the cap. Speaking of the cap, we have to address free agency, because this is where the frustration really lives. For years, Dallas has dipped its toe in the bargain bin. 1-year prove-it deals, injury discounts, depth signings, and fans are tired of it. There's growing belief based on recent reports and comments from analysts around the league that the Cowboys might actually consider a bigger swing this year. Not reckless spending, but something north of what they've historically done. Imagine Dallas actually signing an external free agent to a multi-year deal averaging $12 to $15 million per season. That may not sound massive compared to some teams, but for this front office, that's aggressive. That's stepping out of their comfort zone. And if they did that for a starting corner or edge rusher, it would instantly change the tone of this offseason. Now, there have also been rumors about potential tag and trade situations around the league involving receivers. If Dallas were to entertain that, the cost would matter. If a team offers a massive haul, you listen. But flipping a proven young weapon just to recoup a second-round pick and a late swap, that's spinning your wheels. Draft picks are lottery tickets. Established production is gold. Unless you're blown away by an offer, you don't downgrade your offense for maybe. And that's the balance this front office has to strike. Aggression without recklessness. Vision without panic. There's also the secondary question. What does the coaching staff want schematically? If the new defensive leadership prefers bigger, longer corners on the outside, that shapes the board. If they see Darren Bland thriving inside at nickel, that changes your free agency priorities. And if they they believe they can unlock more from young linebackers already on the roster, maybe that lowers urgency slightly at that spot. But here's the harsh reality. Banking on internal development alone is dangerous. Hope is not a strategy. You add competition. You force young players to earn it. That's how you build depth that survives a 17-game season. Fans have also thrown out names of veteran edge rushers who could be short-term impact signings if the price is right. That's the kind of move that bridges the gap. You draft a young pass rusher at 12 or 20, and you pair him with a proven veteran for a year or two. That way, you're not asking a rookie to carry the entire pressure package immediately. Smart roster building layers, talent instead of dumping all the weight on a draft class. Now let's talk about trading current players for picks, because that question keeps coming up. Outside of a few core pieces, who realistically brings back meaningful value? Probably not many. Day 3 swaps at best for most depth guys. So unless you're moving a high-profile starter, which would create a new hole, the return likely doesn't justify the disruption. Stability matters too. And in the locker room, players notice when management starts flipping teammates casually. It affects trust. So if Dallas is going to make noise, it's more likely through targeted additions than fire sale trades. And then there's the coaching staff itself. Confidence level? That's a fair question. A new system brings energy, but it also brings growing pains. The draft picks have to fit the vision. If you're going to transition into more hybrid fronts or disguise heavy coverages, your linebacker and safety choices become even more critical. This isn't just about raw talent, it's about fit. A brilliant player in the wrong scheme can look average. The right player in the right role can explode. So when we debate edge versus linebacker versus corner, it's not just positional need, it's how those players unlock the scheme. If Dallas walks out of round 1 with 2 defensive tone setters, players who communicate, hit, and rush with discipline, you could legitimately say they won the draft, because that would signal identity, tougher, faster, smarter, and that's what this defense lacked in its most painful moments. But here's the big picture. This offseason is a fork in the road. The Cowboys can continue their cautious, measured approach and hope internal growth pushes them over the hump, or they can combine smart drafting with at least one meaningful outside signing that tells the league they're done playing it safe. Would you trade up aggressively if your guy is within reach? Would you rather stack picks and build depth? Should Dallas finally break their conservative spending pattern in free agency? These are the questions that will define the next chapter, because the roster isn't miles away. It's close, but close doesn't hang banners. Close doesn't erase January heartbreak. Impact moves do. Smart risks do, and disciplined aggression does. At the end of the day, if Dallas nails pick 12, maximizes pick 20 whether they use it or flip it, and actually invests in a legitimate starting caliber free agent, this team walks into next season deeper, faster, and more dangerous. If they play it timid, we're having the same conversation next year, so the pressure is on, the front office knows it, the coaching staff feels it, and Cowboys Nation definitely feels it. Drop your dream first round combo in the comments, tell me if you want to trade up, trade back, or big free agency splash, and let's debate it like we always do. And if you're riding with us through every rumor and every move, make sure you're subscribed to Cowboys Live News so you never miss a breaking update. The next few weeks could reshape this franchise. Let's see if Dallas is ready to swing.